Denmark and its fellow Scandinavian countries are some of the happiest in the world. How do they achieve it? Through this a wonderful concept called Hygge. And it's something that you can use to help you decrease your anxiety and depression and bring warmth and light into your home and life. Do you want to achieve your goals, but anxiety is tripping you up? Like to keep those fun weekend plans, but depression has you counseling again? Hey, I'm Lori, dog mom, lover of nature, and Hygge enthusiast. Positive psychology skills help me overcome chronic severe PTSD. If you're ready to learn how to overcome your anxiety and depression and rediscover happiness and purpose in life, then get your cozy on and let's get started. So let me encourage you to become an insider, and you can do that by going to Practical Solutions for PTSD Insider.grwebsite.com and filling out the form there, confirming the email. You'll be signed up. You'll get really cool information, additional information about topics we cover here on the podcast, as well as some stories with practical applications, some challenges for the week. So go ahead and sign up. That's at Practical Solutions for PTSD Insider.grwebsite.com. Welcome back to Practical Solutions for PTSD. I'm super excited to talk to you today about one of my very favorite subjects, and that is Hygge. As I just talked about in the intro there, Hygge really has become one of my favorite topics. It was introduced to me a few years ago by a friend of mine who was encouraging me to try some of the practices to help decrease the anxiety that I was dealing with at the time. And I'm telling you folks, it worked. And I became a firm believer and enthusiastic participator in Hygge. I absolutely love it. So I want to talk to you guys about that today because it's a real life way to bring calm, healing, and emotional balance into your life when you're dealing with trauma or anxiety. Finding ways to practice Hygge is a fantastic way to be able to counter that. So if you're noticing something different about my voice, I am dealing with a really bad head cold today. So it might be a little bit rough. I'm going to try to keep my coughs off the show, but you might catch one or two here and there if I don't catch it in time. So the good news about Hygge is it is not about perfection. Thank goodness. If it was, I would be in so much trouble. It's about peace, and peace is not about perfection. It's not about square footage. You don't have to have a ginormous space that is your Hygge. It does not have to be perfect. You just have to include a few elements to be able to create a place that has warmth and comfort and safety right where you are, even in a small apartment or a busy household. We're going to give you tips today on how to do that. But before we get started, let's just break down what Hygge is. For those of you who are like me a few years ago and you're like, a what? Hygge is spelled Hygge, and yes, I know it's absolutely nowhere near what it sounds like. It comes from Denmark and the Scandinavian countries, where Hygge is a huge thing for them. And for those of you that deal with seasonal affective disorder, this is how they keep from being depressed there. They have less sun than we do here in Northern America. In the wintertime, they have less sun, and yet they're one of the happiest countries in the world. So this really does make a difference. So Hygge means coziness or comfort and a feeling of safety and contentment. It is not through luxury. Stuff does not bring you peace. It's actually through simplicity, which I found very beautiful. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be very simple. So Hygge can be the glow of a candlelight on a cold evening and that warm feeling that it gives you. It could be your favorite warm blanket, soft socks, or in a quiet moment with tea. Yes, this is one of my favorites. It's about slowing down and creating emotional shelter. It helps you with that emotional regulation by creating a space where you feel safe. It's a sense that if the world isn't chaotic, your space still holds a little bit of peace. And for those of you who live with anxiety or trauma, which I have done both, and I still deal with some of that, there is deep healing when you can find a place you feel safe. Because when you're safe, it triggers your nervous system. It's more than just a feeling. It's actually something where your nervous system can feel that and can help start unwinding, and it can help promote healing. And Hygge has made a ginormous difference for me. It's really helped me to deal with seasonal affective disorder, to decrease my anxiety, to create that safe space where I feel peace, which is one of the reasons why I'm such a huge proponent of it and a huge lover of it. So, why does your space matter for anxiety? Now, your environment is constantly communicating with your nervous system through light, through sound, texture, color, and sense. So, all of these can impact you. And I don't want to get too far into this, but you can do research on lighting and how it affects your mood. They do have the term, quote, mood lighting. There's a reason, because light can impact that. Sound. What kind of sound you have going on can either calm you down or ratchet you up. If you ever been to like a massage, get a massage therapy or somewhere, whatever, they have that really cool, calm music going on. There's a reason. So colors, I was doing research on colors for the website that I'm putting together for this podcast. And there's a certain color palette that they recommend for peace and calm. And if I were to put in something high energy, there'd be a completely different color palette, because colors affect your mood. Textures. One of the big things about Hygge is to bring nature into it. So those natural textures that you can feel, whether it be wood or rock or, a soft blanket, whatever those textures are that help keep you grounded is very important. And then the scents, scent. I said that right. So what you're smelling, which right now I can't smell hardly anything, but it's the stuff that so like, peppermint and orange together. I use those essential oils sometimes if I'm struggling with depression, because they're very uplifting. So since I figured that out, since I found out it helps, one of the things I do in my home in the wintertime to help combat seasonal affective disorder is to have citrus scented hand soap. Leaning towards the orange side. It helps much more than just like lemon or whatever. But like the orange is very uplifting and can help with your mood. So all those senses, incorporating them and making sure you're managing that, can help with emotional regulation by design or through design. So you're doing this on purpose and you're creating a space where you feel safe and you can relax. It's not necessarily about aesthetics. Hygge is not about aesthetics. It's about emotional regulation through design, as I mentioned earlier. So using sensory elements to help your body feel grounded and at ease, which is one reason why they use the natural elements, because it helps you feel grounded. So let's jump into 7 practical ways that you can build a Hygge home to help with an anxious mind. So these are simple, they're realistic. It's something you could start today. Just pick 1 or 2 as we talk through this. Just take 1 or 2 of them and incorporate them starting today. And this will work even if your space is tiny or it's a little chaotic. You can still carve out a little bit of space for Hygge. So the number 1 way is to start with light. Now, candles are the number 1 Hygge element. In fact, the Scandinavian countries are the number 1 user by far of candles today. They go through a lot of candles in the Scandinavian countries because of Hygge. Light really affects your mood, though. So in the morning, it's important to get as much natural light as possible. And if you're not in a place where you can get sunlight, you can use a happy light. But it's really important that you get 10 minutes of that in the morning, one way or the other. So a couple things I've done before is I'd have this morning routine where I would go outside and for just like 5 minutes in the morning within the first half hour, and would face east into the rising sun, particularly in the fall and winter, and take just a little bit of time to let the sun hit my face. I do some breathing exercises, and that really helps set my circadian rhythm. Another thing I did is I moved my office out into my enclosed front porch and turned it into a combination of a conservatory and my office. But the big reason I did that, 1, I love plants, which we're going to get into in a moment, but it was also because of all the windows. I have windows facing 3 directions on my porch, and so it lets in a lot of natural light. And I get that throughout the day, and most importantly in the mornings when you really need that. The other side of that light is to get the ambient lights in the evening. So turning the lights down, the harsh lights down in the evenings, lighting some candles, or just having some warm white lights going, where you have the warmer colors and it has that more ambient feel to the home and gives it a cozier feel. It's a hugely important part of your day. And if you don't like burning candles, you can get the battery operated ones. There's some really nice ones that look very natural and have that natural tone to them that can help create that ambient slow down feeling in your home. It can make a big difference. And something we've done here for a while is in the evenings, I turn off all the overhead lights and go strictly with lamps and soft lights and candles or whatever. So it's very ambient lights in the evenings here. So it has a very peaceful feel. So again, getting that bright natural light in the mornings and some ambient light in the evenings can really help with your hygge. Step number 2 is to simplify visual noise. Now, thankfully, this does not mean perfection in your home. Otherwise, I would be in real trouble. But visual clutter often means mental clutter. Now, there is a thing Einstein used to say, if you see someone with a clean desk, it means they have a clean mind, meaning there's nothing there. And I would, I subscribe to that, but at the same time, I do know there's a difference when my desk is orderly and I don't have a lot of clutter piled up on it. I cleaned it off the other day, needs another one now, but gave it a good cleaning the other day, and it was amazing how much you could just breathe easier when there wasn't all the clutter to look at or have to dig through to try to get to what I was after. So simplifying that in at least your hygge space does not mean an entire home makeover, but you can choose one corner, a seat or just like a corner with your desk or a bedside table, whatever it is. Clear off everything that's on there and then put back only what you actually need or what makes that space feel peaceful. To give it a peaceful and meaningful environment there. So your eyes can be restful when it's looking at it and not seeing all this clutter everywhere and trying to categorize it all the time. When your eyes are peaceful, then your nervous system can rest as well. Step number 3 is to soften your surroundings. So I love this one. So this is where you get soft textures to ground the body. So like throw blankets, plush pillows, rugs under your feet, curtains that diffuse light. All of this can make a big difference in giving you a warm, safe, cozy, grounded space for that could be part of your hygge corner. These physical comforts communicate warmth and safety to the body. So even if you only have like one chair, one chair that you can sit in with your favorite cozy blanket or a pair of cozy socks, and you can hug a blanket that has some of that soft, natural texture to it, or hug a pillow or whatever that may be. You can create your little hygge spot by getting some natural elements in there. It can make a big difference. And it can be a small retreat to return to when you're feeling overly stimulated. So if you're having a tough day, the kids are yelling at you or whatever is going on in your life, just too much going on everywhere and you need a place to just escape from, you can have that space in your home that brings peace and comfort. So when I first started doing hygge, I combined this with my love for gardening and turned my front porch, half of it, into a conservatory. And there are many times I would come out and just sit there and just let the peace of my conservatory, the plants and natural elements in that, to be able to just kind of rest on my heart and help me to relax and chill. Another big thing is to engage the senses gently. So if you're dealing with anxiety and trauma, your senses are already in overdrive, you want to be able to power that down a little bit. And this is a hugely powerful way to exercise some emotional regulation. So you can try some of those calming scents. I mentioned earlier that I love to use peppermint and orange if I'm struggling with depression. Some other calming scents would be like lavender, cedarwood, vanilla, another one of my favorites. You can use these like essential oils, and then you could do some natural elements like simmering a pot of orange and cinnamon. I love to do this in the wintertime. To me, it's very holiday smelly stuff. Like some of those, my favorite holiday smells would be orange and cinnamon together. It's amazing. And you could do this for yourself. Just take an orange and slice it and throw it in the oven on a low temperature and let it dry out, and then throw them in a pot with some cinnamon sticks, and it smells amazing. So getting some of those gentle smells that can help bring some of that the gentle sensory information to help you with emotional regulation. You can also play some gentle sounds in the background. So this would be like rain or ocean waves, some acoustic music, some of that, wind down stuff that just helps you kind of chill out. And this can help soothe your brain and relieve some of that anxiety and trauma that you may be feeling from sensory overload. And I know when I was starting to first re-engage with people, just after having retreated for so long, sometimes just going to a church service and sitting through that for an hour and a half, I would be so stressed out when I got home because it was so much sensory information. So I would need a place I could just unwind in my safe space. And I had a recliner with some fuzzy blankets that really helped me do that. So if noise is a trigger for you, this is a really good one. You could do white noise machines. Another thing you could do, noise canceling headphones. This would also be helpful if you're trying to create a hygge space in a loud environment or a very crowded environment. Using noise canceling headphones can shut all that out and help you create a peaceful environment. Step number 5 is to add nature wherever you can. And I love the outdoors. In fact, when I bought my house, my whole idea for decorating both my home and my yard was to extend my house outside and bring the outside inside. So I love this. I love plants. I love natural elements, wood, whatever, some rocks, anything like that. I've always enjoyed that. But I have found it even more so when I focus on doing that intentionally and bringing some of that into my home. It helps with the grounding me and with that whole hygge thing going on. So if you're one of those people that has a black thumb and you can't raise a plant to save your life, it's okay. You don't have to do plants. You can get some really nice, real looking artificial plants, which would be helpful. But you could also do like a bowl of stones, maybe a water fountain, some seashells, some dried flowers. Any of these would work. So the goal of bringing these natural elements in is not necessarily decoration. Now, you absolutely can use it for decoration if you want to, but that's not the goal. So the goal is to just create a space that's very grounded. You could also do things like have landscape pictures. So it could be a beautiful sunset or, favorite place to go when you're outdoors. Just some kind of landscape photos that brings you peace, and have those up on the wall as well. Step number 6 is to create small, predictable rituals. Now, your body and your mind, your nervous system likes routine. Now, not saying a rut. That's something completely different. But this is a routine where your body knows what to expect when certain things happen. Now, I mentioned earlier that I had a routine where I would go out within the first 20 to 30 minutes of getting up and stand facing the east and do some breathing exercises while I let the morning sun hit my face. Now, I've gotten out of the habit of that, but I'm looking at getting back into it. But that was something that signaled my body, my brain, my nervous system that it was time for me to get up and get going. Now, something that I have done recently, so much so that the dog will do it for me if I'm not on top of it, is around 8:30, 9 o'clock, I start shutting down lights in the main part of the house, and I go back to my room, and I have low lights on. I'll sit there in my chair, read a book, listen to a story, whatever. And like I said, Sam has gotten into that habit, and if I haven't gotten back there by 9 o'clock, he's going back himself. Like, it's time to be back here now. Come on. So you have these rhythms, these small, predictable rituals that you do for yourself in the morning, and it could be anything. But it's something that signals your body that this is what to expect. And so you can build some of those tiny rituals around unwinding and decreasing that anxiety and the feelings of trauma or sensory overload, and can help you create some hygge. So it could be morning coffee by a window, or journaling before bed, lighting a candle as you unwind. When you're lighting that candle, you do it every single time. Your body knows as soon as you do that, it's time to unwind. They signal your brain that you're safe, you're home, and you can rest now. Step number 7 is to design for who you are now. And again, this is not an incomplete home overhaul. This is just for your hygge space. Your home should serve you, not your anxiety or perfectionism. So your hygge space should be something for who you are today. And I know this one thing that I have noticed, my before PTSD myself and my current my current self after PTSD. In some ways, I've changed probably forever. I'm sure I have changed forever. There's some things that'll be forever different for me. So if I were to try to set up a space that would have agreed with me before I had PTSD, it could actually cause me anxiety right now. So look at what you're doing right now. Ask yourself, does this space support how I actually live? Not how you want to live or how you think you should live, but how you actually live. Does it comfort me when I'm overwhelmed? And does it give me a sense of rest and ease? Is it easy to access? So ask yourself these questions and maybe like choose whatever you're going to use as your Hygge spot. Make that something that you can answer yes to all these. Yes, this is how I actually live. Yes, this brings me comfort. And yes, it makes rest easy to access. I can get into that restful space pretty simply. This is not meant to impress anyone. It doesn't matter if anybody likes it. If it answers yes to those questions, it's about you and creating a space as a sanctuary for healing for you. It is not for a showroom. This is not where you're going to enter in, fall home show thing. This is for you and you alone. So creating that space for something that fits you. So what do you do if your home is busy or you share the space? So, like if you're roommates with someone, you have a dozen kids running in and out of your house all the time. It's very noisy, very busy. You may be thinking, that's all nice, but my life does not support that. This is hopeless. Trust me, you can still have Hygge, just taking tiny little steps. Again, it's not about perfection. It's also not about total quiet. It's just creating moments of calm within the noise. We're not asking to get rid of the noise. We're not asking for total quiet. We're just wanting a little bit of calm within it. So maybe you have like 10 minutes in the morning before the kids start getting up and start going crazy, before the house wakes up. Or maybe it's turning down the lights after dinner. So after you finish dinner, you turn off all your overhead lights and go to that ambient lighting. If all the space you have is your bed where you sleep, maybe you can just have, even if it's only half the bed, you can have your half of the bed where you put on a pair of noise canceling headphones, grab a cozy blanket, and that could be your peace zone. Maybe you can have a candle beside the bed and you can light it every night. And this can be something, a little ritual that you put in place in the middle of all this for just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just something that lets your nervous system know it's safe, and it'll begin to associate that space and that ritual with calm and be a place where you can start unwinding. Your body can be cued, hey, this is our safe space. We can exhale right now. For just a minute, just take a breath with me. All right, now look around your space, wherever you are, whether you're in the car driving, you're jogging, you might need to do this in mental review. Wherever you are, just take a look around. What's one small thing you can do today to make it feel warmer, softer, or more peaceful? Just one thing. Again, it's not a total overhaul. It's not about perfection. Just one thing that you can do to make it better. Maybe it's clear a surface. Maybe it's dimming lights. Maybe it's brewing your favorite cup of tea and sitting still for 5 minutes. You don't have to control the world to feel peace. You just need one corner of it that feels safe. So until next time, remember, you don't have to have a perfect home to have a peaceful one. Start small. Light a candle, take a breath, and create calm where you are. For more fun ideas on Hygge or other topics we cover on this show, you can join the Facebook community. It's called Overcome Depression and Anxiety. Use positive psychology to combat PTSD. The link's also in the comments below. Hey, my friend. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with someone you know who may be struggling with depression and anxiety? Also, would you please leave a quick review for the show? Knowing how this podcast is helping you fills my heart with so much joy, and it motivates me for future episodes. For now, it's time for Sam and I to head outside to enjoy some sunshine and fresh air. We'll see you back here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for more great episodes.